congratulations to those guys, Hubert and his staff and their team. They played great today. But we knew today they were going to be highly motivated and on point and play with great energy and togetherness, and they did. They shot the fire out of the ball, which always helps. I need to look at what we did defensively. We weren't very good, and some of that's got to be my fault. So I've got to do better with that. I didn't think we played poorly in the first half, but in the second half, we did not play well. They came out and started well, and we got out of character. We got a little individualistic, tried to do too much one-on-one, and just did not play very well, and it snowballed on us. And again, credit to Hubert and his team. They just were on point, played with a lot of confidence. And when you get a lead like that and you're up 12-15 most of the day, it's easier to play well and to make it hard on somebody. And they certainly made it really hard on us today. So congratulations to them. Questions?
Yeah, Coach Marvin Parker, News 13 Sports. You talked about how you'll have to look at it again after the fact, but of course they were hot from the arc. But did you see anything in your rotations that might give you any leeway to what?
Well, when they're shooting it like that, I mean, when Caleb is, coming off handoffs and ball screens and jumping up at 22 feet and shooting them in, that's a hard cover. They made some high level shots. I think there were a couple times they got past us, behind us. We got in a couple of rotations. Obviously, we tried to trap Armando. He's just such a good player and a physical presence, and we knew that, like, hey, they're gonna try to get the ball to him some today. And to be honest with you, I was trying to protect PJ. I didn't want it to be a foul deal. And they made maybe one or two out of that. I don't think that was the be all end all, though. I think there were a couple of times we overhelped, and just gave them some rhythm shots that you can't give, and then they made some high level plays as well.
Brad, I know Hunter isn't a shot creator, but is it a little surprising to look down and see he only has 2 field goal attempts?
A little, but Leaky Black's a great defender. He took him out of some things. I thought Hunter passed up a couple. There's one action we ran for him. I thought he was open. He didn't shoot it, which is surprising. And then I thought we did not do a good job of moving the ball. When we got down and got behind in the second half, probably my perimeter players really put their head down some, and there's some space there to drive, and but we aren't as efficient and not as good at some of that as we need to be, and so that's probably kept him from getting some touches.
Right, can you elaborate on the challenge that Bacot presents on defense, especially given the 11 second chance points you and saved?
Yeah, I mean, he's probably the best offensive rebounder in the country. He's big and strong, and he's got quick feet to spin off of you, and and he's experienced, right? He's seen everything now. He's been in the league. He's been double teamed. He's been single coverage. I think he does a nice job in transition of trying to seal early and get good position. And then, it works well when they're in some of their ball screen stuff. Your big man is helping. And so then they're moving the ball, and now your guy is in a position to where he's got to go recover to him. And that's not easy as well.
Any questions on Zoom before we wrap up?
Brad, I think Chase is like struggling really bad from the field now the last 3 games. Sorry, can you
put in extra time, right? I mean, I spent 20 minutes with him yesterday. I spent 20 minutes with him on Wednesday, coming in for extra work. I think he's taking a few tough shots. He's settling. And then I think there are just a few at the rim that he's got to make that he's not making. And there's no other way to say it. I mean, it's hard to talk like that, but he's getting the ball to some places where you just got to finish. And he's had a couple roll out on him in the last couple games for sure. That's just experience, and some of it's a little bad luck. And I thought he settled on some pull-ups, early. And then I thought we just got a little out of character and had a few shots that we need to make that we didn't.
Hey, Brad, would you mind, I guess, revisiting keeping PJ in there late first half with the 2 fouls?
Yeah, just trying to stay in the game. You know, we were teetering and, you know, I don't do it as often, but I'll do it, you know, play a good player with 2 fouls if I think we need to stay in the game. You know, sometimes when you have a lead or you're within 5 or 6, you can hold off, but, you know, we were up against the ropes and they were laying it on us pretty good. And I just felt like we needed to keep him in there to help us. And, you know, he had a solid game today. You know, he needs to be a little better on the defensive end, but, you know, he's obviously a high level finisher. And so his baskets were really important.
Brad, how do you
Brad,
get back to the level of sorry, go ahead. How do you get back to playing the level of basketball you guys did for the first 3 months of the season?
Oh, I mean, you know, it's hard to go through a season and not have a bad week, right? I mean, we're not going to overreact. We've played a lot of good basketball. Very few teams don't have a bad week. We've had a little bit of a bad week. We've had some guys out. We're just now kind of getting them back. I think a little bit of that, it probably threw off our rhythm and timing a little. I think some guys, you know, being out, I don't know that they come back quite as sharp. And we just got to get back and stick with it. You know, we're fine. I mean, I know we've had a bad week and we don't want to, and there's still probably 12 or 13 teams in the league that would probably love to change places with us. So it's not overreact to a couple to a bad week.
Go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna ask this, just rotation wise, are you, I don't know, I guess, how do you kind of feel like that went today? I know Alex only played like 4 minutes, just seemed like maybe he was struggling with some defensive.
Yeah, his foot is, you know, I thought his foot was bothering him one day in practice this week. We threw him out there. He was okay. He made a shot. He missed a shot. He got beat on a drive. And then the game got behind on us. And I wasn't comfortable putting him back in. That was, you know, I think the trainer would tell me that he's fine, but I just don't think he has been moving at quite as well. And when we were down like we were, I'm trying to win the war here at the end of the year with him. So we're just I was just being cautious.
Then what do you think of Chauncey? He just continues, it seems like, to knock down shots, and at least on that end of the court.
You know, he made some shots late, which is really good, but we need him to continue to have the courage and the want to and ability to make a few of those when he was out there a little earlier in the game, right? Like, you know, but he's coming, man. He's going to be a good player for us. I just feel like he's continuing to get better. I was, you know, pleased to see that he got 3 defensive rebounds. That's where we've been on him a little bit. He's got to rebound a little bit better, stick his nose in there, which he did. So yeah, I was pleased. I thought he and RJ both competed really hard today. That was good to see.
Right, you've gone against Caleb Love a couple times now. What makes him so difficult when he's?
Yeah, he's a dynamic player. You know, he was on point today. I mean, his you know, first of all, he's big and strong. I mean, his body type he's different, right? He's fast, and so he's sprinting off of ball screens and handoffs and at elite level speed, and then he stops and changes direction at elite speed, and so it's tough. I mean, he's a tough cover, especially if he makes a couple shots, right? He makes a couple early, his confidence just goes through the roof, and you're not going to guard him one-on-one very well. So then it's, you know, you're using a man and a half at least, and even then he's going to make some tough ones where he's catching it on the move and he's shooting a 22-footer on the run. Like sometimes you just got to shake his hand and like run to the other end. Okay, I mean, that's going to happen. And, you know, some guys in this league have guys that can just do that, right? And there's, You just gotta, the hard part is you gotta be willing to go fight the next one. Like, you can't let that deter your competitive spirit. You gotta fight him harder the next possession, because if he feels weakness, he's going to continue to attack with confidence. And I think, again, we were never able to put enough game pressure on them. They just played so well and had the lead. Once they got the lead, we just couldn't, I thought we battled back, and they get it to 12 and we get it back to 6, and then it would go back to 14 and we'd get it to 7, and then it would, and then what was it, 9 at the half, but we just couldn't get it close enough. And then when they got started in the second half, and then the game is like 15 at home, that's tough.
Coach, after Godfrey's fourth foul, it seemed like you put his arm around and started to talk to him. Given the way you praised him earlier, how is this game going to help develop him as a player throughout his career?
Just competitive fight, right? Like, he's physically, he's tough. He's got some bounce to him. He's a quick jumper. He's got strength. He's a great kid, wants to be a good player, doesn't realize what it really takes, for a freshman. Still learning the nuances of the game. I mean, obviously he's like running over people in front of him, and obviously he's been doing that all season. So, right. Like, it's not a new thing today. Hey, we need to stop and make a move, right? Like, they're waiting on you. So there's just some nuances that he's got to develop, but man, does he compete. I mean, he's going to stick his nose right in there with anybody. He's going to battle. He's going to rebound and fight. And he's a tough kid. And love coaching him. All good? Okay. Thanks, everybody.